I think I know how each and every single one of you started your day this morning. Let's see. You got up, you heard a ping on your phone. You looked at a text, you responded to the text. You checked a YouTube video someone sent you, then you posted a photo to Instagram, and you went on Facebook. You did exactly the same thing. Then you ripped off your PJs, ran into the shower, and you were still texting. When you got done wiping off your phone and realized that you need to go to the Genius Bar to replace it, you sat down, you reached for a Diet Coke and a Pop-Tart. I do that sometimes. And you kept authoring. You kept checking your emails, you kept texting. And then, of course, you got into your car. And at that point, you creeped down the 405 at about 2.5 miles an hour. And you were still authoring. You're still sending photos. You're still checking your emails. We're guilty. We're all guilty. Now, what's funny about this is that every single individual outside of this room and across the world that has access to their own personal communication device is doing exactly the same thing. And let's not even talk about the millions of emails that are checked across the world every single day and that are authored across the world. The latest stat has it that we publish probably about 1,500 words a day on email and probably consume 10 times that. Now, what's funny about this is you may choose to believe that what you're doing is publishing content. And you've heard a lot of our speakers so far already talk about that. The truth is that you're actually leaving behind breadcrumbs. And the thing about these breadcrumbs are these are sort of the millions of pieces of data that are left behind on your web travels. And who should come on stage right now and take responsibility for that? Why, this guy here. Came out in 2007, sold millions of units, had a drastic impact on our economy, and had an even bigger impact on the data storage market, which has grown incredibly since its release. So at this very moment, there is audience technology out there that's taking these millions of pieces of data, and this audience technology is burgeoning from the advertising space, and it sees this data, these millions of pieces of data, as precious fuel to propel us into a new era of content. It takes millions of points of data on your personal behavior and builds a personality profile on you, and then goes out and finds the most relevant content for you. And what's spectacular about this is it's doing this to kind of find out who you really are without you even breathing a word. So imagine now, what's spectacular about this is that you get into the situation where you're not having to really let anyone know your personal information to achieve this. And as a result of this, the technology that's burgeoning is kind of like making Minority Report look like it's past tense. So we're already past Minority Report. Everybody remembers Tom Cruise walking into the retail store and having his eyeball scanned. We're past that already because we're carrying a device that tells us that everything we need is close at hand. Check this out. You already have the ability to walk through a shopping mall and instantly get a notification that tells you that the store around the corner has the jeans you need in your size at your price point, lets you check out and have them waiting for you at the register. Google lets you do this already. Moreover, you already have the ability to walk into a building and know that your long-lost friend that you haven't seen since your last high school reunion, which for me was probably like, 20 years ago, is in that building, and get a recommendation for a martini bar to have that perfect martini around the corner. But this is only possible because every single day, and without even realizing it, we're sharing all the little details of our life. Our GPS location, where we go, site to site, where we are, sometimes some of the more personal details on Facebook to our friends. So we're sharing personal information everywhere. And I know what everybody in the room is thinking. It's that word that we've been talking about, the last 3 speakers have come up and talked about. It's privacy. And you know, the thing about privacy is that it's like a precious fuel, actually. I look at it that way. I look at it like an asset. You see, for me, there's some things that are very private. My physical body, don't touch me unless I want you to. My phone number, my credit card number, my social security card number, sometimes my Facebook profile. And there are some things that are less so. And the things that are less so are those things that I've mentioned earlier. So that would be, where you are right now. Everybody downloads an app and shares their location. It would be your site travels web to web, the websites you've been to. You're getting cookied every day. I'm not talking about the gluten-free oatmeal raisin kind. I'm talking about the kind that were talked about earlier here. With all this, the big quandary here is, I know we all want to share. We're doing it every day on social media, but the question is like, where and how much do we want to share? And how much is too much? And these are all valid concerns. Now we've come to the philosophical intersection of today's talk. And I think many of today's topics, the reason you guys woke up at 4 o'clock and crawled over here, and that's this. In an age where content is becoming more and more and more relevant to us as individuals, is the technology out there to take us to the next level? In other words, can that content, in an age where it's geared towards being delivered to the masses, can it become so relevant to the individual as to become life-changing? Well, guess what? It already is. I'm not talking about the kind of content that has the intelligence of an air conditioning unit that kind of knows what room you're in and then blasts you with cold air from room to room. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of content that actually really infers the kind of person that you are based on the information that you've left behind. And imagine for a minute that through an ocean of white noise, this content could find you at the most opportune moment to give you advice, inspire you, and move you forward, because that's very possible. So with that kind of technology, imagine what would happen. You walk into a bar, and immediately somebody puts their hand on your shoulder and says, guess what? I'm the guy offering that graphic designer position that you're looking for. Or better yet, and since we're talking about life-changing, you have this ability to actually have, possibly be sharing with somebody that you really care for. And that individual knows that you've been having a serious problem actually with your kids, like putting your kids to bed. And so you're telling them that for the last 7 years you've been really struggling to get your kids to sleep. And then you sit down and you watch your favorite television program. And what happens is you get an alert on your TV screen. And that alert says, watch the science of children's sleep tonight at 11 p.m. on PBS. That's coming, like whether you want that or not. The thing is, we all want to opt into this kind of technology. So you see, all this technology is really being built right now as we speak. And it's taking the subtle fibers of our daily lives and it's spinning them into gold to move us forward, to inspire us, to give us, to have the kind of intelligence to find us wherever we are. And the thing is, if we dare shed some of the fears around, sharing this information, then, these little subtle points of data, they become less something that are going to come back and haunt us later, and more so like tiny golden breadcrumbs strewn in a forest that will help us find our true potential. So I got to ask you something. If all these things could really happen with this information that's being responsibly collected and responsibly used on all your personal behavior, would you be willing to share more information about your personal lives? I'm reminded by a quote from Neil Donald Walsch, great author. Some of you may know him. And the quote goes a little something like this. Life begins at the end of our comfort zone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all closer than you think. Thank you.